A fighting fury, we're from Tigerland. In any weather you will see us with a grin, risking head and skin. If we're behind, then never mind, we'll fight and win, for we're from Tigerland. We never weaken till the final siren's gone.
Good evening, Tiger fans. Welcome to a Monday night special. It's the Tigercast Player of the Year award night, plus some general chit chat. We've tried to find a day where everyone's available. It's just not working, so we just had to bite the bullet and run it tonight. But we've got CB in the house. Grok might be joining us after. He's rounding up his dogs who have broken out. CB, how are you, mate? Welcome.
G'day, mate. Lovely to be back. Good to see you again, mate. It's sort of it's pretty crazy, isn't it? It's a crazy time, and I was just sort of explaining off air that we're sort of 10 weeks to go before Christmas, and the building game goes absolutely crazy because obviously builders want to get their builds to certain stages before Christmas so they can have a nice relaxing time, and all of a sudden everyone's remembered the phone number and away we go.
That's it. It's funny how that happens in certain industries. It's like, it's the same time every year, Christmas. It doesn't change, but people still seem to forget, and they're in a mad rush right at the death knock. But at least you're busy, though. At least you're busy.
Yes, well, it's better than the alternative, isn't it?
Oh, exactly right. So I've got to put my other lights on. It was a bit dull in the background. But have you been keeping up to date with some of the Tiger stuff? We've had a little bit of bits and pieces happen today. It's been, I guess, a relatively quiet trade week for us. But today we had the news that Tyler Young is officially traded to West Coast for pick 38 coming back our way.
Yeah, we thought there's a chat. Obviously, we're in like with that Discord thing and that, and everyone's sort of talking. Pick 34 to 38 was where we thought would be fair for Tyler Young, to be honest, fair compensation for what he's worth. Really, I thought it's a pretty good return on investment, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. What's he been on the list for 3 years? Obviously had the ACL injury. Played. I mean, his back half of this year was good, and I think the first segment of his games when he started was pretty good as well. And you see the highlights that West Coast have rolled out since signing him. They've got a good player on their hands, right? He's going to serve a good purpose for them. He's going to play pretty much every game and will be one of their better defenders, no doubt. So I think it's a win-win. And pick 38 always just kind of felt like the middle ground, didn't it? I know if you look at all the socials, West Coast fans were initially up in arms about the pick they've given up. They reckon they got bent over again. But I think once they actually understand the player they've got and how beneficial he'll be for them, I think they'll calm down. Because they did the same thing with Liam Baker, and he's going to be their captain almost. So it'll work out okay for them too.
It's a fair deal. Everybody overvalues their trash, don't they? All of a sudden, you'd think Jacob Blight was Malcolm Blight the way people are talking about him. But the reality was, handy overhead, handy in the intercept, but average kick, average speed. But apparently if you talk to, it's another one gone, he's going to be Superman when he leaves us. No, he won't. He had plenty of opportunity with us. So,
So on Blight, I guess the most common commentary we see now about this from a Richmond perspective is that we've lost Cozzy, we've lost Blight, we've lost Tyler Young. We've obviously re-signed Campbell Gray. Are you still comfortable with our defensive stock? So we've got Miller, Bolter, Gibkiss, Campbell Gray. We'll throw in Luke Traynor as well because he's technically of the height, maybe not of the build yet. But how comfortable are you heading into 2026 with them as the key defensive stocks?
No worries at all.
I'm the
Still
same.
got Broad, still got Vlosten, still got Short, still got Traynor, still got, we got heaps of guys. Banks, Brown. We've got tons of
I think it's more for the bigger guys. And I still think even out of those bigger guys that we just named, that not all of them I don't think will be playing simultaneously. I still think there's a bit of fighting for spots on the line. And it's funny, I keep seeing comments pop up saying, if we were going to get rid of Young, why would we have gotten rid of Blight as well? I feel very confident in saying we could have gotten rid of 3 key defenders and he still would have been gone. I don't think there was any point of return for him to the Richmond Football Club. I wouldn't be latching onto that side of things. I think we sort of well and truly had moved past him. But, it's showing some good faith in someone like a Josh Gibkiss, who obviously played the last game of the AFL season against the Cats. Hopefully he's got some more confidence in his body. As Uze said, but he views Bolter as a backman, so we get to see him shift back there, assuming the forward line functions and doesn't get decimated. So I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay down there.
Is there any talk on Blight getting picked up at all at this stage? Just 2 days to go.
Yeah, so I think he had a medical at Collingwood, and there was one other club who was interested. I'm not sure whether the Bulldogs might throw their hat in the ring late. It just sounds like they're still desperate for a defender of some kind. I'm not sure if Blight is the big answer for them, but they may throw their hat in the ring. But Collingwood was the only one that I had heard that he had a medical at. But I don't know whether it's gone much further.
Yeah. No, I'm more than comfortable with their backs and forward stocks, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think he's fine too. Like, I don't think he did much wrong during the season to get dropped from some of those games that he got dropped. But for me, it was the moment when we refused to play him to trigger that extra contract. It's like, okay, they clearly want to part ways. Clearly.
That was the weird bit, and that was signalled just past the halfway mark too. We're only about 2/3 through the season when opportunities were there, and then that was strange. I'll say that was strange.
It was. Elnor could be assuming that he's nominated for the national draft. I'm not sure of that particular status, but assuming that Elnor has, then yes, he could, and/or rookie. So it will be interesting. Harry Scott will be another one as well to see if he gets picked up at some point too, which I know a lot of Richmond supporters will be keen for us to get Harry Scott. And that pick 38, maybe that helps do that if he was the player we were after. There could be some sliders there at pick 38, and maybe that brings Harry Scott into play potentially.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Yeah, we've got a few handy young players in the VFL system as well that could easily come on the books and have looked like Elnor. So yeah, no, there's options. I'm comfortable. There's options.
It is definitely the midfield and the forward line that we need to work on, which hopefully we will. In the coming.
But for the record, my youngest fellow went to the Caulfield races on Saturday, and there was a group of obviously a big gaggle of footballers there around the sports bet area, and he saw Jonty fall, and he said he's just a monster. He said, he's a big. He said when he puts a few keg on, he's already a big boy. He goes, he's gonna be an absolute monster. So take heart.
How good's that? Yeah. It sounds like Harry Armstrong's been hitting the gym pretty, as all the players will be this time of year, but he obviously had significant time in the gym doing upper body stuff during the year with his layoff. So maybe he's doubling down. It could be a pretty strong boy come year 2, hopefully. Who plays out of them two? Could you play them both, or do you play one?
Well, I think you'll play. I think it'll be Lynch, Fall, and Harry Armstrong. Yeah, I think Lafau will be starting in the reserves for sure. So Lafau, Fawcett.
Come back in. Yeah, Fawcett was in the gym pumping some iron. I saw a photo of that today as well. I've said this before, but I really love that Fawcett's backed himself to crack into the side here. I really rate that he thinks he's going to be able to hold his own.
He was spewing. He got injured. He got injured at the wrong time, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he was unlucky.
Family, Grok might be in shortly. He's just got to round up his dogs that have escaped, and EJ's got some family duties on, so he won't be on tonight. But so he just stuck with CB and I for the moment. But no, it's all good.
Apologies, mate. If you're hoping for someone better, apologies, mate. That was the best I could scrape up.
But the other news as well tonight that come out in the last couple of hours is Ben Miller has put pen to paper and extended for another year, taking him to the end of 2027, which is good news. I guess there was a lot of commentary, probably more from a supporter perspective, about that he may be targeted as a free agent next year before this extension. And now we've obviously knocked that on the head for at least another year. But then I suppose he comes out of contract when the whole Tassie thing kicks in. Part of me feels like that's deliberate by the club to see what happens.
I mean, here's a guy. What did he, top 5 finish now? Club BNF?
Yeah, it's top 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah, he's had 2 or 3 really good years of consistent footy. So a 1-year extension's a bit surprising. So clearly there's something in the offing down the line, I'd suggest. So Ben Miller is a fantastic one-on-one defender. And, he's playing some very good football at the moment. And his kicking skills have just come on. Like second half of this year, his kicking skills were just off the charts. So very good key defender, Ben Miller.
I guess it's either his managers aimed for 1 year for a reason, or the club's aimed for 1 year for a reason. They're like, it's not an accidental thing. Someone's got a reason behind why they wanted it to just be the 1 year extension. And I don't know whether it could be the open market with Tassie. Maybe he wants to back himself in for another year to get a secondary boost and pay rise. If maybe the TPP is going up, I'm not sure. There'll be something.
Well, TPP has gone up. That's why all this monster. Like, we look at Geelong. They're cotton on deals, but that's how they're affording a lot of things too. This TPP going up, they're able to afford things, and St Kilda as well have been able to. Not tonight. So St Kilda as well have been able to use the advantage of the TPP going up to obviously lure some big fish in.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what we do there. But he was categorically our best key defender this year. So a well-deserved extension. I'm not sure what type of pay rise come with that, but no doubt it would have been. He'll get looked after. He'll get looked after, and the club clearly back him in to be the man to do the job. So it'll just be interesting to see how he partners up on a more full-time basis with a fully in the game Noah Bolter, because I guess that was the missing piece last year, wasn't it? That even when Noah was playing, he wasn't quite mentally in the game, it seemed, bar maybe 1 or 2 games, but obviously very interrupted. So now it's, I suppose, on them to have a really big preseason together to form a good duo like what he and Tyler Young had done.
So I'm sure you guys have spoke about in the last few shows. I'm actually... I'm still erring on the no side of it, but if you're talking about possible defensive stock backups, do you look at a May?
Or do you look at trying to get Alika Lear if he goes through the PSD?
Well, that's if I had a schoolyard pick, I'd take Alika Lear, if I'm honest with you.
I think he'll ultimately end up staying back at the Giants, but if there was a way that he goes to the preseason draft, I mean, West Coast, I don't know, they might take him. I don't know. I mean, I guess they're putting their eggs in the Campbell Gray basket too. He looked okay in the games he played. I suppose they're banking on him to be Tyler Young 2.0. Do we feel confident that he'll come on? I think he will.
I think he will. The calls for Eleanor, I don't mind. I'm happy for us to look within, to be honest. And I agree. I'm a no with May because I just don't culturally. It just 33-year-old doesn't seem to learn his lessons. It just, I don't know. You'd want to keep him and Noah Bolter out of the nightclubs, I'd suggest. Poor joke. Sorry, I'll on one. But yeah.
And I guess the other point that's been raised in here is in relation to Dow and Sonzi before we get stuck into the award part of it. I think it's looking a little bit grimmer for them now that we've got pick 38 and there's the chance. So this pick 38, people automatically linked it straight to Louis Callaway. I actually don't think it will play out that way. I don't know whether a bid will come for Louis Callaway that early. I think he's been underrated personally, but from all the talk, it seems like the bid's going to come after that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we either use pick 38 in the draft and actually pick a slider or someone, another wing or whatever it might be. Maybe we trade it for a future to try and get more stock in the bank for Armstrong, Lees and Duffy. I just don't think that 38 will be for Louis Callaway. I think it'll get to a point where we can get him for free. But if we do use 38 this year and we do get Callaway, then that does signal danger for Dow and Sonzi.
Yep, would agree.
So,
but again, I hope. But there's part of it. I hope we persist with Dow and Sonzi. To be honest, I know we've probably been critical of them over the year, but that they've shown enough to deserve to keep playing at this level. If it's not with us, somewhere else. I think they've shown enough to get another year somewhere, if not with us. Yeah,
it's just harsh, isn't it, that they're sort of left hanging, aren't they? Just waiting to see how it unfolds. I know it's a business and that's kind of the game, but you can't help but feel for them. That they're in the position they're in. Yeah, White Screen, Rory Wright or Dalton, they could definitely be players that could still be at that pick mark. They were on my list as well, so that is a good shout.
Dalton, I thought he was bigger. 80s movie buffs will get that. 80s movie buffs will get that reference.
You thought he was bigger. Well, he's only 177 centimeters, so I wasn't sure if you were referencing his size.
It's a quality 80s movie reference, and I'll be stoked when someone picks that up on Dalton.
Now, last week we did do the Come On Man Awards, which you weren't able to attend because you had another function on, but you did want to have a chat about Catman quickly, was it? You wanted to...
Yes, I did. Thank you for bringing this up. So, Catman, it's fair to say, he didn't take the grand final loss too well, and he might have posted a couple of videos that might have gone viral.
He might have,
Hear me out.
yes.
Hear me out, right? He's onto something with the credit system. I've thought about this, okay? And I can't believe my phone has just rigged up past what I was going to talk about. Oh. So,
No.
So Catman and the credit system. Let's talk about this. So he thought Geelong had credits in the bank for where they finished on the ladder and all these things, and they should have another game. You're right, Catman. You're onto it. So using the Catman credit system, I'm going to bring some things up. Straight off the bat, 1982 grand final, we were winning at that point, right? We were winning. Streaker comes on, we lose the game.
Oh.
Credit system dictates that we win that flag. That's our flag. So we're at 14. And
that
Carlton
started
can
the
have one
curse
take
too.
off.
That was the curse.
Cursed us for years.
Yep.
Right? Credit system. Tom Lynch's goal that was disallowed in the final against Brisbane.
Oh.
Credit system. We should have that goal allowed and win that final. Okay? That should stand.
Yep, agree.
Right? Credit system. 2018 prelim. We finished on top of the ladder. We had one bad game. So using the credit system, I think we should give the boys a month's worth of training and we should have a rematch against Collingwood with the same listed players that played that game.
Bring Rancy
Right?
back. Bring them all
Bring
back.
Rancy back, yes. 2018, we're going credit system. So, Catman, you're onto something. What else is there? That game in the 90s where Richo had that bullshit free kick paid on him against Dunkley in the square at Waverley. Credit system.
What
That's
about
our win.
What about the Richo free kick when he kicked the goal from 50 against the Bombers?
Credit system. Credit system, we should have that win. So now you're picking it up, right?
Yeah.
So you think about these things, right? The credit system, Catman, you're onto something. And yeah, I agree. Not the sovereign citizen part, that's batshit crazy. But the credit system, really, really good.
Big tick to the credit system.
Catman. So yeah, I've gone full Colin Carter. I want the credit system in, and it's time for Richmond to start actually showing some balls and demanding these things.
demand the credit system come into play. No, I like it. There you go. And due to all those credits, we now have the most flags. So job done.
There it is.
The record's ours.
14 flags.
Until we dig deeper into everyone else's and they claim their own credits. Oh dear. No, that was very, very funny, that whole Catman saga. But we are here for the Player of the Year, or the Tigercast Player of the Year award tonight. So each week, as you all know, we did our votes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And yeah, we voted pretty much after every game religiously. CB sometimes copied EJ's votes, but
Roadhouse AA got it. Well done, AA. You're a good man. One of the all-time great movies with Patrick Swayze. All-time great.
There we go. Well done, AA. So the votes are in. It was always going to be interesting to see how our votes align to the best and fairest. And I think we've done okay. Really, well, look, it probably feels like a lot of it was obvious, but we're going to reveal the top 5 because we did stop publicly displaying the vote totals at about just after the halfway point to build some suspense. But coming in, what we got before I get into it?
Rational Roman. He's gone back to 1924 for the credits.
We've beaten that. Good. There we are. That's exactly what we're talking about, Roman. I like it. Retrospective premierships. I like it. Yeah. So coming in at number 5 for the Tigercast Player of the Year award, we have Sam Banks on 97 votes. Banksy, I think CB had a really good year. I mean, the start of the year, he was obviously playing wing and halfback. He was being sort of floated in a few different positions. But once, look, not that you want injuries to players, but once Jaden Shaw was forced out with injury and it opened up that spot for Banks, he really settled into that and made it his own. And it's almost been a blessing in disguise that he was afforded that opportunity. And I just felt like he took his game to a whole new level. And he may not have got a lot of 5s in our votes, but I think he was the type of player that was getting a lot of 1s, 2s, and 3s for his different games, especially in the back half where he was sort of averaging 20 to 25 disposals, getting some good meters gained. I think he's had a really good year, and it's definitely something for him to build on into 2026.
Can you just put Greystokes up? Greystokes post up there, just so it's on there for record. Thank you. I fully agree. When EJ watches this, I fully agree. When I talk to this guy nearly daily, I'm telling you, mate. I tell you what, he's a little bit loco. But let's go back to the original topic. Really rapt that when we did our votes that Sam Banks got this recognition because outstanding year. And do we go full fly bags here like the Collingwood BNF? We need to overhaul the Richmond voting system because we think Sam Banks should have been a top 5. Should we overhaul the whole thing just to get what we want in?
That's right.
But look, no, Banksy's a ripper, wonderful player, took his opportunity by the horns and absolutely made the most of it. And we always said he was an elite kick. We always knew he had that talent that everyone rated him, and we finally got to see what he brings to the table, and it was fantastic. So, yeah, great call by the voting team.
And we've said for a while now that we've heard from around the traps, the club have internally really held Banks in high regard for a while. And they've always felt that he was going to be the best of his draft crop from the selections that we had. And I guess maybe people didn't quite see what the club was seeing early days, and maybe there was some missed opportunities to play him a little bit earlier under Dimmer. And it just didn't work out. But since being given that role at halfback, he's found it that it's his own. And what I loved and what I guess we were all worried about was when Short come back in, I guess we were all concerned that maybe he would go back into his shell a bit. But in some ways, he became more attacking. And his defensive stuff was good too. So that just needs to be his one wood from now on, just running around, getting the handball receives, long kicks, is a long kick for goal as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for 2026. I expect him to be up there again next year, I reckon. I think you'll back it up.
There's no reason to doubt why he wouldn't be able to back it up. So yeah, really stoked. And he's committed to the club too. He's Tassie boy?
Yep. I think he said a few times that he doesn't want to play there. Yeah,
him and Seth are chips in at Tig, so it's fantastic.
Some interesting comments in chat. Toby saying Banks future captaincy. Dutchy, real leader around the group. I mean, and they're probably things that you don't hear a lot of. So they're kind of good things to learn. The captaincy is interesting. I hadn't probably considered that, but yeah, nothing's off the table. So all the best to Banksy. Coming in at number 4 for the Tigercast Player of the Year award, the man who just put pen to paper again today, Ben Miller, in 4th place on 107 votes. A phenomenal year for Miller. I know he was dividing a lot of people early on. And like us, I really do believe that people just got caught up on the collective club's last 5 games of 2024. We all played like shit, Miller included. And I think that left a bad taste in people's mouth. But if you look at the first half of 2024, Miller was playing at a great level, very similar to what he was doing this year. But he did it pretty consistently for all of this year. Like he said at the start, his foot skills became a real highlight. And as EJ had mentioned sort of week in, week out, it was just about him making quicker decisions as the year went on with ball in hand to sort of start those counterattacks. And he definitely got better in that space. But he never really lost his ability to win those one-on-one contests. And he was by far and away our best key defensive player for the season.
And I'm not going to say he's a future captain, but he's definitely leadership material down the line. The way he conducts himself and the way his behaviours are, I think he's got a fantastic future at Richmond, to be honest, as a one-club player. And what pleases me is that we were able to identify, it's normally a midfielders type thing, all the midfielders clean up and that. Isn't it good that we've actually got a fullback in the top 5?
Yeah.
Which shows how we rate him.
It can mean the ball's down there quite a bit as well, but he featured strongly in the club BNF too, so they obviously recognise the same things that us as supporters saw as well with the work he put in. I think it's safe to, even though I know we had some nasty losses, number one, we never lost a game by over 100 points, and I know that's, I think that's a good thing. I know some people might say we should aim for a bit higher, but if Miller and to a lesser extent like Vlosten and Broadner, if they weren't playing as a collective unit and that they weren't stable, we would have conceded a shitload more goals. Like they were pivotal in keeping us in a lot of games and keeping some scoreline somewhat respectable.
Yep. So that's a beauty. That's a great result.
No, it was very, very good. Coming in at number three, I mean, what more do you have to say about Nick Vlastuin? He came third on 158 votes. Another really, really good year from Nick Vlastuin, similar to Ben Miller, that if he wasn't down there doing what he does, we would have been in a world of hurt. And, teams try and tag him, but he just reads the ball so well, gets himself in the right spot, puts his head over it, backs into packs. He robbed of an All-Australian, I think, over the course of his career. But he will always get very, very well recognised amongst Richmond people. We know the true value of what he brings to our side, and a super year for Nick Vlastuin.
Everybody recognises this guy's a top 10 defender in the league, except for the actual All-Australian selectors. I mean,
yeah,
the guy's an absolute superstar. He is. He's more consistently. Well, hello. Someone's out of his Desi Freeman cave, is he? You had to see an early comment there, Each. You got sledged, mate, not by me, by a very harsh audience.
That's all right. Life got in the way. We're all right. How are we?
We're good, mate.
Good yourself. I'm trying to find the comment.
We're just saying. So if you haven't seen the first part, Banks come in 5th, Ben Miller come in 4th, and now we're just up to 3rd. So is there anything you'd like to say about Banks and Miller and Nick?
I think Miller's played 44 games in the last 2 years, and I think this season was the first season he's played every game. And obviously with the news dropping today, he's had the 1-year extension. Some people are a slow burn. He's just built and built and built. He was sensational. And, I don't know. I didn't see Banks coming on as quickly as what he has. He is now just a very solid, dependable, best 22 contributor, and it's only going to get better from there.
Yeah.
That about wraps that up.
There you go. And anything on Nick?
Oh, look. Absolute star. Clearly his best season. And it's an absolute travesty that he did not get All-Australian. But I think that ship has sailed now. I think the rest of the league can get stuffed, and we just enjoy the fact that we've got a champion that with another 2.5 seasons is going to rock up and going to be another person in this current crew that's going to rack up 300 games.
Is that you and his surname? Is that in the right spot?
Yes. Jesus Christ.
That's actually elite from you, CB. That is
not bad. Not bad.
You of all people. You.
That's a really shit inside joke on my behalf to the audience there.
Got a Mozzie in here. How long do we think we need Vlastuin to keep playing for to have a suitable and less damaging handover to whoever the new backline may look like? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Is that unrealistic? I know it probably depends on a few things. He's obviously going to miss a chunk of preseason with that leg injury, which is a bit of a shame, and hopefully that doesn't impede him too much.
3 years. I think we've got Broady's last year is definitely next year, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you've got the senior figure for 2 years, just controlling everything down back and guiding, being that coach on field, much like Prestia is. What a great re-signing that was, ACB. And then that'll see him out.
I wonder, as the young Cubs come on, whether it prolongs his life by another football life by another year, as the young guys around him come up. So I don't know. Take
more of the load. And I wonder how the 5th interchange helps older players as well.
Well, there you go. Yeah, and the interchange is expanded next season as well. So
I think it's only the same amount of rotation, so I'm not sure if that will hinder or help. But maybe it's. I don't know where it's going to land with that interchange system. But hopefully, it keeps players like Vlastuin in the game for a little bit longer, because we do need him. Like, I know the back line's probably our more stable part of the ground, but we, as a club, I just don't think we can afford to lose him, Broad, Prestia, and Lynch in too quick a succession. We need to somehow space it out, and he's probably the one that can go the longest out of all of those players, I feel.
Well, I'm going to raise a player from another club who absolute shit brick, but has had 2 amazing years, and I think he's now 35. and he just won his second flag in 2 years in Dane Zorko.
Yeah.
He's holding together remarkably well. Floston, apart from an unlucky injury, this was a very unfortunate injury, the one he suffered.
Yeah.
He's been extremely durable, and he's not relying on pace. He's relying on smarts, and he's relying on courage, which he's got in bucket loads. He goes back with the flight for a living. He's holding up physically remarkably well. What, Pendlebury's going to be 39 or 40 or whatever is next year, some ridiculous age. He can do 3 years easy.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. It is, that the injury's just been a bit of a freak accident. Is that right, Franklin? Adidas is sign on? Really? I wouldn't have thought. I'll have to double check that. That would be an interesting signing. All right, coming in at number 2. Now, I'm guessing that most people can work out who the top 2 might be based on the year that we've had. But coming in number 2 was Jacob Hopper with 199 votes. And look, to be honest, I know we had Vlosten in at 3rd. I just feel like Hopper probably just polled higher a lot more consistently. But I don't think we would have had any qualms if Vlosten was higher in that ranking again. But Jacob Hopper, this was the first year for him, I think, that he felt his fittest, and I think he played his best football since his GWS days. I know that not all of his kicks were wonderful, but the work rate, the grunt work that he helped carry in the midfield was second to none. And I know there's been many times throughout the year that we've questioned the midfield makeup, but if we're talking about Hopper as an individual player, I thought he had a really, really solid year. Where to from here for him? I mean, he's got to sort of keep upping that game and get a bit more dangerous up forward. But I thought his midfield minutes were much needed, and against some of the bigger and hardened bodies of the AFL, he was a bit of a battering ram at times, and I thought he thoroughly deserved the amount of votes that he received.
He was a bit of a whipping boy going into this year. You know, everyone sort of questioned the contract and a few things, but we saw what he can provide when you get a full year out of him, and I thought he played some excellent football, and provided good leadership out in the ground too. I think he was terrific with his output this year, so I've got no beef with Hopper at pick 2.
Yeah, I don't have a beef with it. If I think it does bring into focus so that midfielders get votes, because I would say if we were to not have voted all season, and if you had have been given the 50-50 question, who had a better season, Nick Vlosten or Jacob Hopper, straw poll, what would you have said?
To be honest, I would have said Hopper, to be honest. And you got to keep in mind too, out of the top five, we've had 3 defenders. This is the first midfielder that's come into our top 5.
Yeah. I would have said Vlosten every day of the week. But on wrapped that his body's held together and that we've seen a good, consistent season, your point about the midfield mix is completely valid. I think it does pose questions going forward. But if you're getting that level of commitment and professionalism and output, you've got zero complaints.
We'll keep in mind this is probably
a stat pattern
who has a natural bias in the bloke who watches the game.
A few people claiming he's a bit of a stat pattern, doesn't hurt sides. Look, maybe he doesn't hurt sides as much as other midfielders do, but in a point in time where we've got young kids coming through the ranks, he shouldered a huge workload in the midfield and was still able to find the ball plenty and able to get his fair share of clearances and get the ball going our way. Was it pretty? Not always, but if he wasn't doing it, we weren't winning the ball and we potentially concede more. So you've got to kind of put a value on that as well. Yeah, obviously we'd like to see him more dangerous, but it doesn't always
I'll
work
ask a question to you two blokes then. If we didn't have Taranto, as much as we talk about the midfield mix and the issues within it, if we didn't have Taranto and Hopper in that midfield, would we have won 5 games and been possibly in line to win 7 this year?
No. We don't have anyone who can play at that level for as long as they can.
I say no, but I would say that were there times where if we didn't have one of them, may we have performed a bit better when we were getting torched out of the centre. So it's not a all or nothing question, and that's where that continued use of the word mix when it comes to the midfield gets raised. I'm happy that they're both playing for Richmond, and I'm happy that they're both going to be there next year.
We've just got to play them correctly.
That's a very good point from Toby Payne. We managed to get through the year without losing by 100 points. That definitely would have happened if they weren't there.
Yeah. Agree. And we definitely need to tweak some things for next year. But the winner of the Tigercast Player of the Year award in its inaugural voting season was Tim Taranto on 219 votes, which obviously aligned with the BNF winner. So we obviously got that pretty well bang on there, which was nice. But similar to Jacob Hopper, Tim Taranto had a massive year. And in some ways, I kind of feel bad for both of them, but just on the reasons they were brought to the club haven't necessarily played out with what they were sold. And that can be hard, I think, to then adjust your mindset. But the one thing I really noticed with Taranto in particular in the off season is I really sort of started to feel like he was buying into what his role in the club now is in terms of being a leader, passing on knowledge and helping out the young cubs coming through. There's been that realization. And I think he even said in his best and fairest speech, someone correct me if I'm wrong, that he doesn't want to be in the top 3 or 4 next year. Like he wants to see the kids up there polling all these votes and taking the mantle from the older guys. So I think they've got a great teacher in Tim Taranto helping out. And similar to Hopper, he wasn't always damaging, but you've got 2 blokes there who are doing 85 to 90% of the CBAs, which whilst we didn't agree with it, it helped tremendously that they were, and we'll see a difference next year. And, Taranto has a habit of kicking goals that aren't drop punts, but he always finds a way to sneak him through somehow. So I thought he had a super year, Tim Taranto, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in 2026 CB.
Agree. But like I said, the exciting thing is next year, you've got Lawler. We've still got to look at Smiley yet to come in, We've got young Houghton to go in there. There's so many different Seth Campbell. There's so many different players that we can use to throw into that mix now. We've just got to be brave next year and take that risk, to be honest. We've got to. So that's just my take. Each.
Yeah, well, I think, he's been super. Yeah. I struggle to watch him kick for goal because the way he holds the ball doesn't equate to me to be a set shot routine. It just, but they go through.
He always looks as surprised as anyone that they go through as well.
Yeah. He's like Malcolm Blight, constantly amazed. I think we're very lucky that we've undertaken the rebuild when we have, and we've got all the kids mentioned coming through, and they are learning what it takes to be an AFL footballer from Taranto, Hopper, and Prestia.
Well,
go on.
But even guys like Broad with his leadership, Nankervis, there's some very good leaders through the lines at that club to teach these young guys how to train and how to do it.
Yes, given. Yep. Sorry, I was focusing on the midfield at this point.
Sorry,
but yeah, no, I agree. Like Brody is much loved for his leadership. Jack was great in his final years in teaching people on the ground. There are levels of dedication, effort, and professionalism that some young players on the list can take a lot away from these guys. And Taranto has absolutely led the way. And he talks like a leader now too.
Yeah, I agree.
Correct. And can we just, while we're talking about the midfield, how exciting was the Channel 7 report on Lawler, already back at the club, doing a little bit of training work?
Raring to go for round 1. Very good to see. And it's hard not to, I get really excited by seeing stuff like that, even though I know that all players from all clubs are doing their bits and pieces. But it's just good to see the young cubs out there. Josh Smiley's been running laps relentlessly. Didn't go away. The other guys, I think a lot of them all went away. I don't think Smiley did. He was still at the club smashing out his running. They've been doing stuff with the running coach. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the preseason looks like, because this is now Lawler's first full AFL preseason, isn't it? Like, no more of the cricket stuff. This is the first big hit out. How do we see it looking then for 2026? We'll start with Lawler. There was a suggestion in here that he should maybe be alternating with Taranto and half forward to midfield. Does that seem about right? I mean, what if he was playing, let's call it 30% midfield time this year, hypothetically? What do we think that should look like come the end of 2026? What's the split?
I would say max 30-70 mid forward.
So you'd have forward 70?
Yep. His score involvements before he got injured were off the charts.
I can see a 20-goal season in the future.
20-goal season?
Oh, the seer.
Mark that down. He's going to have a 20-goal season next year.
Well, how many didn't he have 11 in the games that he played? Not bad going.
I'm not sure, but he's so damaging that even in 3 or 4 years, when he is fully fit and hardened and got the mature body, I'd still like to see it only at a 50-50, 60-40, because he's going to cause that much carnage up forward. He's a fantastic mark. He's got a great set of hands. And unlike some other mid-forwards, when he does go forward, he's a great set shot.
We'll have a look at Rayner.
He's a good shot.
Rayner's the number one pick. And what does he play mid-forward? What's his mix at Brisbane?
And how long has it taken him to become a consistent player?
Correct.
Right. Lawler looks the goods straight up.
Yeah.
Do we have more of a, like, we've just talked about the midfield mix. Do we have enough coverage, though, to have Lawler playing forward more than he is playing midfield?
Yep.
To mix up that midfield still? Obviously, Tash Houghton. So it's relying on players like Tash Houghton going through there, Seth Campbell.
Mate, Houghton is going to be the X factor that we have lacked in the midfield for the last couple of seasons. He's going to be a consistent Shea Bolton.
I think so too. I think
so.
Yeah. And then Josh Smiley, he'll get a crack in the midfield as well.
Yep. McCall.
So my long-term vision was always
Fonzie,
that Smiley or Lawler start in the midfield, the other one at half forward, and then they swap with each other. Because they are going to be tough matchups up forward.
We saw it with Richo. Would you try and get Smiley as a 195, 196 centimetre winger?
Dan
Curtin plays outside really well.
If he builds a tank, that's a 2-year project, because he was miles off it this year. So you need to build a tank. Do I like the idea of a big winger? Absolutely, I do. And do I like the idea of someone who's got skills on the wing? Imagine if K-Mac had 10 or 20% more natural ability, right? He had the work ethic, he had the size, he had the dedication, he had everything, and he was a good player, but he was not a top-level player. But you add someone like a big person like that to a wing that has a tank, I reckon it'd be awesome.
Mate, Smiley was in the VFL games Smiley was playing. He was absolutely smashing blokes with his tackling. I would say I'd actually push back on he isn't defensively inclined. If you watch his VFL games that he did play, he was very hard at the player with his tackling and physicality, shall we say, to the point where he's actually giving free kicks away.
I do have my doubts on him ever developing a big enough tank to do it, though. He doesn't look like an aerobic beast.
Well, the first iteration of Josh Smiley didn't look like it, but maybe the refined, after all his running program, Yeah, you're right, though. It would still be a 2-year thing. But Dan Curtin was about a 2-year thing as well to get himself into a position to be able to run the wing for the Crows. It's worth looking at. Otherwise, I think just playing midfield forward is going to be equally as dangerous, but I can't wait to see him out there. You mentioned Kane McAuliffe, EJ. I want to get everyone's thoughts on Kane McAuliffe and where he fits into the midfield mix. He's one we need to see like 20-odd games from him next year. I just think he adds so much. He's left footer, has a bit of pace. And I always just keep going back to it, though. I couldn't help but be impressed with his output with the amount of percentage of time on ground that he was having. Like, he was only getting 65 to 69% time on ground, but still getting 18 to 20 touches. So I'm like, if he gets 75 to 80% time on ground, it doesn't always work out this way, but could that equate to another 26 to 30 possession midfielder?
Oh, you'd take 24 to 26, wouldn't you?
I think so, yeah.
And to CB's point about Smiley, McAuliffe doesn't mind the physical stuff either. I think it's a very big year for McAuliffe. He needs to show that he can get his body right for a season because he hasn't.
Is it getting close to make or break?
Oh, it's. When's his contract? 2027.
I'd have to.
I think he's got 2 years to run. So there was faith shown in him from an ability and from an attitude point of view. But physically, we just can't have people breaking down continuously. Injuries have killed us the last couple of years.
I'll say 2 words on what impacts his career. Dion Prestia.
So you reckon he takes over from Dion Prestia? Is it like another apprentice season, or Dion's taking his midfield minutes?
If you look at what we've done, Dion gets an extra year, still got Taranto, still got Hopper. If that's our starting midfield, I'll be really, really pissed off, to be honest, next year. I really will. So the problem is, I wanted the whole reason I was happy for Dion Prestia to retire was to open up at least one slot in that midfield to bring someone in. And I know Dion's got the smarts and he's got the coaching, but he ain't got the pace. And we need speed in there. And Taranto and Hopper, they can accumulate. They're not quick. So that's my whole concern around that whole thing. Was we had an opportunity to be brave, make a call, open up a slot and change it and get things moving forward. And we erred on the side of conservatism.
No, we didn't. No, we did not. We erred on the side of it.
How dare you?
We erred on the side of education.
Yeah, the other guys.
You've seen that 4-minute clip that the club put out. I have not seen a Richmond player give better instruction than what Dion did in that clip. That is the reason. I don't think Dion will play more than 14 games next year. I don't. I think
if the sub role had have remained, he would have been the ideal sub. Yeah.
Absolutely agree. So I think he's there as a handover from an education point of view as much as anything. And if he gets pushed out by the kids, how good of a sign is that?
We almost need that to happen, don't we? There needs to be kids bashing the door down to take over. But that's the thing. Last year, no one was doing that. No one was physically at the point where they could take over the midfield workload that those 3 players, that Prestia, Taranto, and Hopper, were doing. It just wouldn't have happened. So now they've got another pre-season behind them. What about Jack Ross? Is he someone that can step up and take a role in there too? Where do we see him fitting in? Because there's a lot of players who are going to be putting their hand up for midfield minutes, and I think he did his best work in the midfield, but I can't see how it all fits together for all of them, unless we just slash the other midfield minutes from the other guys by a lot.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't his best footballer as a tagger this year?
Yeah, I thought he did really well in the role. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the fittest he's looked last year. His body looked harder. I think he's a good 14 to 23 role player in our side. He'll fill a hole wherever. He might not have the same role every week as the kids develop.
Yes, very good, Jed. Do you want to press through in the sprint?
So here's a thought process then. With the extended bench, so your forward line will say Lynch, Fall, Armstrong. Just guessing, right? Lynch, Fall, Armstrong is your two tools and your sort of your third hybrid, yeah? Being Armstrong. And then you got your three runners around him. With the extra bench number, do you play Samson Ryan? So you roll with 4 flanker mids and Samson Ryan as your fifth, who can come on the ground, which means your forward structure remains intact. And
let me know when he's finished. Let me know when he's finished. Let me know when he's finished with that stuff.
I've discussed him that much. He's left the show. So what's your thoughts on that? Does the fifth player give all of a sudden a second ruckman rather than risking him on the ground and making your forward line a bit more immobile? You can actually sit him on the pine.
It is interesting to see what teams are going to do with this, with the fifth spot, EJ.
Yeah, well, sounds like he's got some work to do from a fitness point of view from his end of year escapades, but that fifth spot seems perfect for Dim Sims. I'd be pumping the games into him instead. I'd be pumping the games to him as bench spot 5 instead of Ryan.
Look, I think if Sims is fit, I would do the same, because I have a funny feeling there could be now a view within the club that Sims could be our future number 1 ruck because of the new rules. But if he's not right to go, then I do agree, CB. I think we can't keep Nank on the ground for as many minutes as he plays week in, week out. Like, he's only getting older. He had 1 game off last year, and
he was knackered.
He was cooked, absolutely cooked. And like, we love him. We love what he does, but it's just not sustainable, because it's going to turn into Ivan Maric 2.0. So we do need to find a solution here. And I don't mind you thinking, though, that I guess the problem we had last year is every time we tried those moves, it destabilized another part of the ground, and it just fell to shit. So maybe we do have to, maybe we are a club that has to use that fifth spot as a genuine backup ruck. And if it's Samson Ryan because Sims is out, then so be it. If it's Hayes Brown, might get a crack potentially. He might see some game time.
It's a big old season for the snack pack.
Yeah, well, there could be a spot there for him for the taking. I mean, he showed some good progress this year. I still stand by, if he didn't injure himself, he would have got a game late in the season. But I do think that one of them will have to be used as the ruck. Yeah.
Do we bring back Soldo?
No. You know what?
Have heard he may be seen around the club.
He's doing it deliberately now. No, you want to talk about the new ruck rules? If ever there was a rule that made someone obsolete, it's Soldo. At least Nank has ground fight capability.
No.
I'd rather play that clown from Sydney, the one that used to play for Port.
Well, Tom Derricks.
Tom Derricks.
Sorry, lads.
Angus Graham.
Bring back.
Let's get Trent Noble back.
Actually, young fella's tearing it up at Mafra a couple of years ago. Trent's boy. But yeah,
do we need to look at this from Christian a bit more? It doesn't have to be Lynch, but do we need to consider letting Nank, or whoever the ruckman is at the time, let's assume it's Nank, be able to sit a kick behind the play so he's not running to every contest? And this is where I think the benefit of maybe Harry Armstrong pumping some serious iron in the gym. Like, we saw him doing 450 ruck contest in the West Coast practice game. I know it's just a pracky match, but I think Harry Armstrong could be another one that could do it just from a strength perspective. Lynch, I don't mind it, Christian.
I just don't like the thought of trashing Rolls Royces in a ruck roll, mate. I'd rather.
But they're not running and jumping. It's just a side by side physical wrestle. They're not running, not in the centre bounce, just in the forward 50.
Lynch is
Mate,
pretty
it's a late-
clumsy, mate. If he attempted a ruck contest, he's liable to knock some bloke out and get 10 weeks.
He might. He very well could.
Oh, so let's bring back Ty Vickery then.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
One
go.
punch,
It's like-
6 goals, Vickery! The Cobra.
Let's bring Ty Vickery back, but only for games against Dean Cox coach sides.
For the record, mate, Ty Vickery almost brought Hawthorn down internally from the inside there, mate. That was the greatest plant we ever did. We nearly killed Hawthorn off sending him, Ty Vickery.
What about this one from Clint? Fawcett is our best option at full forward to take over from Lynch. Be cool because there's a few names up for grabs. I'm keen to see where Fawcett goes. I'm really keen to see. I don't know how this will actually work, but you'd love to see him get 10 to 15 games this year somehow, but you don't want it to be at the expense. It just feels like we've got one too many key forwards now. Like, you don't want injuries, but it feels like that's the only way we're going to see some of these guys get an extended run.
Yeah, well, that's just where the list is at, isn't it? And having said that too, the appointments of Taylor Duray and Luke Bruce are fabulous appointments as well. I think they'll do really good things.
They're going to be super appointments. How do you both feel about that, like us extending our development coaching side of things? We've obviously got an extra assistant coach now with Sam Lonergan doing the stoppage work too. So this is probably the beefiest that our coaching ranks have felt for quite some time. But I feel like having that developmental coach specific for forwards, defence and midfield with Duray, Zeeble and Bruce, I think that's going to be a really powerful tool to have, especially being so like recent in the game. I think it's going to help a heap.
And the coach on field too. Good signing that, Prestia. Look, I think it points to what next year's about. I wouldn't be surprised if we only won 5 games again, but maybe that our percentage increased by 5 or 10% or 15%. Next year is about development, getting everyone to 50 games as fast as possible, the right people in the right places. And I don't know enough about Duray and his footy smarts, I'll be honest. He seems like a good, solid citizen, a good, solid footballer, but I'm really excited about getting Bruce into the club.
Yeah, I think you're right, Edge. I think we're going to be a 5 to 7 win club again, but we will halve margins again.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make progress offensively and defensively, I think.
And so I've spoken about this before, that there is a real chance that we may even go backwards in the win-loss column this year or next year. Would it still be deemed a successful year if we did go backwards by 1 or 2 wins, but the percentage did improve? Is the percentage now for the next year or two our main metric to measure ourselves by? Does that tell a greater story than the win-loss column while we're getting games into players?
Look, we'll beat West Coast, we'll beat Essendon, we'll beat Carlton, we'll beat North,
Jesus.
Geelong, Collingwood maybe. There's 6 I can peel straight off the bat. All's not lost.
Yeah, I think the manner in how we lose or how long we stay in games is going to be the measure. You certainly don't want to be like, if we say that we've improved by 10 or 15% and had 5 wins again, but we've given up 4 games through poor management at the back of the end of games, well, then it's not really going to be a pass because we've had those close losses already this year. So it's going to be, it's not definitive. There's not a definitive measure, I don't think. I think it's the vibe. It's Marbo.
It's Marbo.
I'd be disappointed if we had any less than 5, if I'm honest. I'm hoping
any
5
less
to
than
8.
5 wins.
I'm hoping 5 to 8, yeah.
So percentage-wise, we finished the year on 66%, which still wasn't the lowest. It was West Coast was still lower than us, thankfully. What does that need to get to suggest that we've made some inroads into whether it's our ability to stop opposition from scoring heavily or increasing our own firepower. Is it 75, 76? Is it in the 80s? I don't want to demand too much too soon, I suppose, but what is an acceptable percentage to get to for next year? What should we be aiming for?
78 to 80%.
78 to 80%?
Yep.
My gut says 80, yeah.
And
then my gut also says hamburgers. So.
Am I right in saying that I feel like that it's as simple as our forward line being a bit more cohesive? I think defensively we do okay. We just don't score anywhere near enough. And if we can improve our firepower by 10 or 15% with the development and growth of the players, keeping them on the park and maybe a bit better connection going forward, I kind of feel like it might take care of itself if we still stay sound defensively. Or is that too simplistic?
No, it's just, look, you know what? It's a suck it and see. We just got to see what happens with the midfield and the forward line. Whatever plans they're putting in place to improve it. And we won't know that until we get into 2026.
If we can keep Lafau fit and if old mate can stop punching blokes, we're going to have some experience there, which we'll have the best defender taken up by Lynch, etc. That changes the dynamics. It changes who the second and third people get as defenders. He'll get double teamed, so there'll be opportunities, etc. I think our attack can improve quite a lot if he stays fit and unsuspended, and if going into forward 50, we don't just be so Lynch-centric. The amount of times when he did play that he was double and triple teamed and the ball was sat on top of his head drove me up the wall.
I'll give you a stat. You like your stats. John G. Fall kicked, 9 goals, 17?
Something stupid like that.
So if he switches his conversion around, there's a bloke who could potentially kick another extra, 10, 15 goals next season.
Yep.
If he gets his conversion right.
So what's the ideal mix for the big forwards? Because I think as the year went on last year, it really did seem apparent that we needed 2 experienced and 1 inexperienced. But I also value the fact that you want to get games into Fall and Armstrong at the same time. I just don't know if that's going to be ready to work alongside Lynch. I don't know. What's the right blend? I mean, I feel like we'd probably start that way and then assess and see what happens. But I know you got Lafau in the back pocket that you can use as well. I just get worried having Fawcett and Armstrong and Fall playing on second best defenders as well, because the guys they're coming up against are genuinely good defenders. And I know they'll have another year up their sleeve as well. But what's the right blend?
It comes down to structures, coaching structures, and how we deliver it in. I'm happy to roll with those 3, and then you got Seth Campbell on the half forward line with him, Lawler, and maybe Morris Rowley Jr., what have you. I'm happy to roll those guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was just going to mention, and I saw it in the comments. Logan Morris and Gallup, right? If the rest of our team upfield is working as a cohesive unit and the quality of entries goes inside the forward 50 is better, I have seen enough in Fall. Yeah, I saw that too. I've seen enough in Fall to know I've got full faith in him already. I've got full faith. Yep. So
yeah,
I don't see if Lynch is fit, I don't see it as a massive issue that the other 2 are young.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I think we will roll the dice that way. Then onto the small forward side of things, what does that makeup look like? Obviously, Taj Houghton is going to play a role down there when he's not in the midfield. Seth Campbell will play a role. Ryan Mansell, do you see him as a small forward again? I've still got a train of thought where I can see him redeployed as a lockdown small defender when we play against sides that have quality small key forwards, because I don't think we've got anyone suitably able to take them at the moment. Steely Green had some okay form in the back half of the VFL level. Morris Jr. is running around. Jasper Elga bashing on the door as well. What does the small forward makeup look like for you guys?
I'm starting with Houghton, Lawler, and Seth Campbell.
Houghton, Lawler, Seth Campbell, and the bigs.
I'm starting with Houghton, Campbell, and Mansell because Lawler's on ball.
Yeah, good call. Good call. Or Houghton. It's either Lawler or Houghton, isn't it?
Yeah,
Swapping one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is the beauty of what is coming through is we don't have to have Houghton and Lawler down there together because one of them can be up the ground. So,
yeah. Yep.
Jonty Fall, he shouldn't miss any preseason. I think maybe you're thinking about Sims, potentially Zinger. Sims was the one who picked up the navicular injury that he realised when they were doing a postseason cleanup. There's a genuine chance that he will miss the first large chunk of preseason. So I reckon we'll see him out there doing stuff in the new year. I think they'll be fairly conservative with that side of things.
And just so you know, mate, in 2 years' time, if we've got the pick, if we don't pick up Marlon Neoclis from Traralgon, a.k.a. the Nuke, we got rocks in our head. If you've seen
he
his
was the one dropping goals from the boundary, wasn't he, in that Futures game?
He's about 2 foot tall, and he is an absolute freak show, either side of his body. He'll be top 5. If he's not top 5 in 2 years' time, I'll be amazed.
So it's at the wrong time, then, isn't it? When Tassie level the picks.
Yep.
Right. So, to your point, then, Michaels, where you were just saying, do we use Mansell down back because you don't see a natural small forward lockdown small defender at the moment? We've got a draft coming up. I'd say we've got a lot of key position forwards. We've got a lot of small forwards. Are you suggesting that we should look at that sort of player in this draft?
Not with the picks that we've got. I think you still have to go for your best sort of midfielder. The one that could be drafted is Xavier Taylor, but he's 191 centimetres. He's a defender for Eastern Rangers. Got a bit of speed, but not exactly looking after a small defender, I don't think. But I think for draft-wise, if we go in there with 3 and 4 now, as it is with West Coast having the priority pick, I think you still got to go with your 2 midfielders, whether it's Roby and Sharp or Cumming. I'm still not sold on CDT, but I did hear today that and I don't know how much weight there is in it, but if Carlton and Sydney do a deal for Curnow and the Blues end up with picks 10 and 11, that there's some talk that they may try and trade them to us for pick 4 so they can get ahead of the Harry Dean pick. So we would have them 3, 10, 11 potentially. So I'm sure that will divide a lot of people with what happens there. But no, I think for our first couple of picks, you go. And like Sam Grill's the other one you'd love to get in with some pace. But if we split picks, I now don't think that he'll be there at our second pick because of his combine testing.
Dear Richmond, if you deal with Carlton, I'm just going to give you 2 names. Chris Yarran, Sean Hampson. And now that we're after, what time is it? 9:30. I'll say this. Dear Carlton, get fucked. We should not deal with that club in any way. We should not deal with them at all. Just say, nah. Silvani was a piece of dirt. Forget it.
I'm going to take it a step further. I like where you're going with this.
Thank you.
I'm going to use a line, I think, from The Godfather. Here is my offer. Nothing.
Yeah, there you go.
If 2 picks were all right, we can't get too burnt for that, surely. Give Carlton nothing's a motto of Richmond Football Club. Yeah, we'll have to see. See, Toby, I reckon pre-combine, Grill would have been there at 10 or 11. But after the combine, the fact that he's got the 2K time trial time and then went top 2 or 3 in the 20-meter sprint, that's pretty rare air. And I think that alone is going to spike him up the order significantly. I don't see him getting through to 10, unfortunately. But I still think the clubs know. They talk. They know who's going where. But just, it'd be interesting to see who we take with pick 3. I'm still leaning towards Cumming. Roby would be nice too. But would they play round 1? I don't know. I'm not sure if there's room to keep chucking debutantes in there.
Just to go, you're leaning towards Cumming.
Yep.
So juvenile.
I walked into it, didn't I? I walked into it.
So juvenile. So CB, so a couple of people have rightly pointed out, we gave them Collins or whatever it was, and we got Grigg.
We should never have got rid of Andy Collins. That man, he could hang 12 wet towels off the end of his prong. We traded that guy. That guy was the stuff of mythical legend on the big footy board about how many wet towels. He was up there with Nahas, for the record.
It really is after 9:30, isn't it?
Yeah, I've lost
I do remember all those posts. Yeah. Oh dear. All right. Well, has anyone else got any questions? Any other topics you want to bring up?
Nah.
No.
I've disgraced myself the last 5 minutes. I'm done.
Smiley plays round 1. Oh, there we go. One last one. Are we happy with Smiley to play round 1?
Yes.
If he warrants it.
Yes. Yeah. I believe he will warrant it. Positive signs and positive messaging is reaching my ears, and it makes me very happy.
Oh, Jones Racing, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Let me tell you something. Geelong losing a grand final is almost up there with Richmond winning one. That's how much I hate that club. Because of that club, I got violently drunk. If they had won, I would have been home by 7 and sober. They lost. I was home at 3:30, borderline missing a shoe. I was a hot mess, and I don't regret 1 minute of that. That was fantastic seeing Geelong get done. As far as the AFL findings against them, put perspective on this is how dirty the AFL is. Adelaide got found guilty of the same thing, and think about the sanctions that they copped with Kurt Tippett, right? And all the sanctions that they got absolutely reamed over. They lost picks, massive fines. Geelong gets 77,000.
I've got one better for you.
Go.
When Buddy chose Sydney, and Sydney did a completely legal trade with no funny business, they got a 2-year ban.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did
a
too.
2-year trading ban.
They did too.
Right? They got a 2-year trading ban and did everything completely legally. And this is Geelong after getting done for TPP in 2020. 5 years later, something else pops up and nothing. Kenny got 20 grand for doing an airplane.
Yeah.
Correct. Well, yeah, perspective, right? So right. I'm really hoping that St Kilda stick to their guns and tell Geelong to get stuffed, right, and give them nothing. I hope Hawthorn stick to their guns and hold Warple, and I hope that Carlton
Warple's already there, mate. Warple's already there.
Oh, damn it. All right. One out of 3 ain't bad. So, yeah, but I hope Curnow goes anywhere but Geelong just to see that club start. Why are clubs helping him out and keeping him perennially in the top 4? Why would you do that?
So 1 out of 3 ain't bad. So you're like a mini meatloaf. So you're just like a hamburger slice.
I'm like a sausage roll without the pastry.
If we finish bottom 2, does that hurt in our pursuit for Butters, i.e. competing against clubs vying for premierships?
We're not getting Butters.
We won't be getting Butters. No.
Not getting Butters.
You don't reckon?
No.
Okay. I hear slightly.
Did you hear the way that Michael's voice just went?
Yeah.
I think you might know something we don't.
Why would we want Butters? Honestly, why would we want Butters when we have Lawler, Smiley, bloody Houghton, McCall? We've got all these blokes we've got to place. We've got so many blokes we've got to try and cram into this midfield, and we've already got Hopper and Taranto on long-term deals. Why would you do it?
You find a way to get someone like Butters in. And we've got to spend money. Next year, I think we have to be spending money and free agent somewhere.
I'd rather get the next Butters in, mate. Just keep going. Just keep going the path we are. We need another forward in before we need Butters.
We'll have too much cash. We're going to have to part way with something.
Well, hopefully there's a forward up for grabs when Lynch goes by the wayside. We bring in, I mean, look at
the other one
would
be
Jack Gunston.
Zach Bailey would be nice.
And he killed him this year.
Zach Bailey would be nice. Yeah,
he'd throw some big coin. I just think we're in a position where we could actually price some teams out. They wouldn't be able to match. but it can't be at the detriment of everyone else, of course. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens in the off season.
I know he's signed the new deal, but don't forget that Harley Reid and Lawler are good mates.
Oh, an old flame.
Well, there's an interesting. What was the length of his deal?
2 years, I think, wasn't it?
2, yeah.
That's right. It's only 2 years.
Just a little too.
It's not like he signed a Clayton Oliver Petrarca kind of scenario or a Grundy scenario, is it? Long-term big deals.
Yeah. So they're going to get Clayton Oliver for a 3rd-round pick. Crazy.
Yeah, you can take the boy out of Marutna, but you can't take the Marutna out of the boy.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. That would be interesting to see what happens there. But that is a wrap for tonight. So the awards ceremony done. Congratulations again to Tim Taranto for taking out the Player of the Year award. Well deserved, and we will do it all again next year. Maybe we revise how we vote, whether we go back to 3, 2, 1, or if we do.
Oh, you're going the Collingwood model. You're going the Collingwood model.
I'm saying, does Tim Taranto get a big footy Tigercast footy or something? Do we send him something?
Do you know what I was going to try and do? I just didn't have the time. I was going to reach out to the club and see if he could send like a video, like a thank you speech. Like, sorry I couldn't be there, guys. I just didn't. I didn't have time to try and. But he would have been away as well because he doesn't do social media, so there's nowhere I could even try and contact him. But
Tim Taranto, if you're listening, that's crap. Get on, accept your award.
We can fling him a footy and a stubby holder. We'll try and get a thank you message out.
Hopper gets a stubby holder. Hopper gets a stubby holder. Okay. Taranto gets a footy. Maybe we give Nick Vlosten a sticker. You stick it on your surfboard.
We should have got custom robes made. Robes made up for the prizes. But no, thank you for your votes this year, gents. We'll obviously do it all again next year. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate the love and support. There's not much else for us to talk about because we aren't doing much in trade week, but we'll obviously see how the next couple of days pan out. Otherwise, there'll be a bit more draft stuff going on. I am awaiting for a copy of a mock draft from Cameron Hicks, so I'm just waiting for that to come through. Then we can do a live and talk about that. And I reckon as well, gents, I'm going to obviously harass you to both come on for the draft night. Then maybe we'll all do a mock draft again and we'll run the tally side by side and see how we all go picking the players for this year as well. But there could be a bit of action on draft night.
You'll be proud of me. I haven't come out of retirement to play cricket. I haven't done a John Farnham or a Kiss yet.
Oh, very good.
I actually remained retired on Saturday, so I'm learning. I'm getting there. I might be available. I might be.
There you go for the draft show. I'll work out what night that is, and yes, we will send that through. We'll do a draft night live special, which should be good fun. But plenty of other things coming through over the course of the rest of the season into next year, and we look forward to all that unfolding. EJ,
the highlight of draft night is going to be using North Melbourne's first round pick.
Yeah,
that was an amazing night. Hopefully, we can do it something like that again. I just feel like if we're going to split one of our picks, it's going to be because we've fleeced another club. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Blair and Ry Geeshan come up with on that front. So we'll be watching.
You can live trade on the night, can't you?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Yeah. Depending what happens with the first two picks, there could be teams climbing over people for our picks.
I'm old.
But have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Get stuffed, Carlton. Go Tigers.